Hey everybody, I have to tell you, I am so tired today, and I feel like probably lots of other people are tired too, because it sort of seems like it's nice out, you gotta get outside, you don't wanna waste the day. So I have been still wanting to cook, of course, and it's spring, so there's lots of fun things to cook with, and I always wanna eat something delicious. So I thought I would take the opportunity to do a super quick video. I keep going over the time limit and then I have to kind of splice things together. So I'm gonna kind of do a super quick video. This is something that I did on Top Chef when guest judge David Zilber was on. These are these little buns that I made. I made some raw scallop buns with kimchi inside that David Zilber brought from the famous Noma restaurant. So while the ever adorable and incredibly intelligent David Zilber isn't here today, the buns are. So I thought I'd run through how to do, it's very easy to make quick breads. There's a million recipes online, but this is maybe kind of taking it up a level. Like I put some kimchi, daikon kimchi, when I was on the show. And that's really what Zoeifying is about, sort of trying to take something to the next level, but without spending hours and hours doing it, because of course, lots of us don't have the luxury of that time, but we still want something really amazing and beautiful. So what I've done is taken, and I'll post this recipe hopefully below this video if I can figure that out. I have 2 cups of flour here, and actually I think I took out about a tablespoon. I'm just gonna put a little extra in there. Okay, so I have 2 cups of flour in here, and then I have 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and I have a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and I have 1 teaspoon of salt. That's it, and they're done. So I'm just gonna mix that together, and because I am extra tired today, I thought I'd show you a little trick. Normally I would put this in the food processor, pulse it for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 pulses just to get the butter mixed through, but I really don't feel like cleaning the Cuisinart. So I'm just gonna grate the butter, which is probably not exactly the same, but it's gonna give you quite a fantastic result. So I'm just gonna use the big grater. Make sure your butter is extremely cold as possible. If you can, freeze it, overnight or at least for an hour. It's melting in my hands a little bit, so a tiny bit warm. Make sure you get all the bits, and that's gonna go right into my mix. So I need, let's see, that was 4. I need 6 tablespoons here. All right. So grate this. Again, tiny bit warm. Make sure colder the better. These buns, when they're in the oven, the way they want to puff up, having cold ingredients really helps that contrast so that they kind of get a little spring when you expose them to heat. So I've taken 6 tablespoons of butter in here. That was very easy, and I don't have to clean up the Cuisinart bowl. I just have 1 grater to clean up. So I'm gonna mix it through and just really make sure, maybe with my hands, that all the butter is kind of separated in there. Fantastic. Now, normally this recipe just calls for me to use some cold buttermilk. It's amazing if you can get real buttermilk. Usually at the store, especially in Quebec, you get one kind of buttermilk. It's low-fat buttermilk. Try and get the full-fat buttermilk if you can. So what I did was, I had a little bit of spinach lying around. So I took my favorite little machine, and I just whizzed the spinach into the buttermilk. So now I'm gonna have a spinach buttermilk. That's gonna make some beautiful green buns, kind of take it to the next level without really doing that much more work. So into this mix, I'm gonna put a 1.5 cups. So I have a 1/2 cup measure here. You can puree this, like if you have a Vitamix and you can get it super smooth, that would be awesome. This is a tiny bit chunky, totally fine. It's gonna look beautiful. So look at that, just enough. Okay, so now I have my buttermilk mixed into here. You can see. This mixture is gonna be really wet. So like other quick breads that you might, like a soda bread that you might be able to form, this creates a pretty wet kind of a dough. It's equivalent to sort of like a drop scone, but it makes a really, really fantastic, a fantastic texture on the buns. So you're just gonna mix it really until the flour is mixed in. I think because I put in spinach, it's a tiny bit thick. I'm gonna put just a teeny bit of extra buttermilk, maybe an extra tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. Let's say 2 tablespoons. Sometimes when you add something into milk or something, it's not as liquid, and it's you want this dough to be quite soft. Okay, you know I love to use my hands here. So now I have a really soft dough, almost like a bit thicker than like a cake batter. And I'm going to drop it into a pan. It's best if you put it in sort of a pan that will keep the buns tight and close together. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of butter and a pie plate. You can use a pie pan, you could use any kind of like baking dish. Just make sure you grease it well so that you can get the buns out afterwards. And they'll be crispy on the bottom also. You wanna preheat your oven to 500 degrees so you get lots of heat on this. They have lots of raising agents in them, so you kind of want to get them into the pan quickly. So there's a middle step here, and we're going to kind of get these buns rolled in a little bit of flour. So you want to scoop maybe, I would say like 1/3 of a cup. Normally I have an ice cream scoop, but during the pandemic, it could be in the laundry basket, it could be in the cupboard. It's gone, I have no idea. So I'm going to just use a very large soup spoon here. And I'm going to just drop this very soft batter, try to make them all the same size, into just, it's about maybe 1 cup of flour here. I put a little pinch of salt in there, but if you wanted to, you could add a little spice, you could add some pepper. And so these are the ones that I did on the show, and I had 30 minutes to do them, to make them, bake them, make the filling. So now I've just coated them in a little bit of flour, and I'm gonna just place them right in the pan. You should be able to handle them, but they should be pretty soft. So you should kind of just barely be able to handle them. So you just kind of delicately, and you don't want to get a lot of flour on there. I'm doing this to kind of like get a lot of the flour off. So I do about 3 at a time here. Okay, I'll do another 3. And I'm gonna show you, I baked a little batch just so I could show you what they'd look like. And you know, another part of zoeifying is really like the shape and how you present things, because you could make a very basic grilled cheese sandwich and present it in a beautiful way and people will be blown away. So I think a lot of what we do at the catering company and we do when we're preparing meals for people, for events, is to really just try and present it in a way that feels special no matter what it is. So I've baked some really special little buns to show you. I'm just gonna get these in the oven, and what I'll do is, because they're gonna take about 15 minutes to bake, I will post a photo of these buns with the recipe. I'm very excited to eat these. If you wanted to, I suppose you could add a little bit of cheese to these. Maybe some grated cheese would be amazing inside. Depends how you want to serve them. For me, I would probably serve them just like on their own with dinner, maybe with a really nice compound butter. So my pan is maybe a teeny bit big. Ideally, you want these to be kind of pressed all together, and they're gonna bake. Can't really move them once they're in there, but there you go. So the last thing I'm gonna do with these is, usually I like to take a little bit of extra buttermilk or some butter, and what you're gonna do is just brush the tops of them. That will give them a really, really nice color when they're coming into the oven, a nice brown color on the top. With these, I tend to, if I have any little leftover spinach mixture here, so I'm just gonna kind of brush the tops here, and that's gonna make sure that they brown and look gorgeous. The recipe that I use, that I based this off of, and a lot of the buns or scones want you to brush them with butter, but it's a whole extra step. I already have buttermilk out. The buttermilk is gonna give it a really nice coating on the top, and it has the butter fat in there to cause some browning. So there you go. Now they've got a little brush on them. Those are gonna go in the oven. They're gonna be so good. So let me show you quickly what I've done to add a little zoeifying. Here we have some really little, beautiful little green buns, and they come out super bright. I think kids will probably love these. And these are the little buns that I baked on the show when I filled them with a raw scallop salad. You can fill them with anything you want. So I pulled out a few things so we could dress them up and I can have some lunch. So I have some fresh gravlax here that we make at the catering kitchen, and I thought I'd show you how, if you've got a couple people coming over and they're in your backyard, and so I'm just gonna slice this bun open a little bit, kind of like, I treat it like a little lobster roll. And I have some leftover, this is a black lime aioli that we made at the kitchen. So I'm just gonna take a little scoop. Use what you have. If you just have some sour cream, that would be amazing with this, kind of like a little bagel lox cream cheese situation. I'm just gonna kind of like fold up a nice big piece of this gravlax, set it inside here, like that. And my favorite, I have some little Japanese, you know, they put this on top of rice and stuff, and since I've been having much Japanese food, I'm craving it. So I'm just gonna put a little of this crunchy seaweed on top, like this. And there you go. It's just a really beautiful little bun that we've made with spinach. Really, really simple recipe that you can make in 2 seconds. People coming over, you saw it really took me no time at all. They bake in the oven for about, I don't know, 15 minutes. I'll show you when the pan comes out. If you have little microgreens, if you've got little herbs in your garden, if you don't have spinach and you want to use fresh herbs, fresh dill in here. Like I said on the show, I use kimchi. By all means, if you have kimchi, you got to throw some in there. Make it spicy if you want. You can put a little coating of chili powder on the outside, and there you go. A little Zoe Ford appetizer for the summer. That's so good. So light and fluffy. Really, really amazing flavor. And that's it. It took me 2 seconds. Done. Enjoy your summer. Check out zoeify.com. We've got a baking class shipping across Canada. You'll get a box of mixes, be able to bake with me. We have lots of new things going to come out in the pantry, so check that out as well. And if you live in Montreal and you want our weekly delivery meal, also check that out on zoeify.com. And hopefully I'll see you guys here next week. I don't know what I'm going to zoeify, but if there's something you would like me to zoeify, by all means, send me a DM, send me a message. And when you make these buns, tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see what you're doing. And we'll zoeify again soon. Bye.